Hello. My name is NicholassRivas. I do videos on politics and stuff, and today we're going to be talking about some fun old things today. Well, not really. Schmortions. Yeah, that's not a fun topic. So basically, I talk about politics and stuff every week, and I do it in front of the backdrop or behind with the backdrop, with the backdrop of a video game, right? And some of these topics I'm always kind of like, I should, I don't want to like devalue it. So I try to talk with these a little bit lighthearted because they're not taken, I wouldn't say that seriously, but they're taken in a format of just somebody talking while trying to be entertaining. And so that's the whole reason. It's just me talking about things that I, am interested in politics, and I think also need some awareness. But this topic is something, so beyond me, and I think that needs to be taken care of. And I think just ultimately the argument that I've been using for myself and for others in every sense, from work to school to family, is that, look, it's not my choice. It's not my choice. And I can't say anything about this topic because I don't know about this topic. When someone has a septic uterus, they have a high chance of dying, having the kid. So we should have a kid with no mother? These people I see so adamantly against it, I understand where they're coming from, and I try to be as level-headed, because unlike topics where, like some bigotry or, warmonger mindset, you look at those people like ludicrous and crazy, but when you think of the core of what we're fighting for, it's body autonomy, but it's also babies dying, right? And I'll be the first to fall into many traps of when does life start? Is it conception? Is it conception? Is it inception? What the fuck? God, I can't think of words. But is it when the baby's born? There's these philosophical debates, and I think ultimately all of that doesn't make sense to me. Like, all of that doesn't mean anything to me. If a woman and a doctor talk about or just if a person can give birth, talking to their doctor, has the opportunity to work something out with their doctor, I don't know why that's not more understandable. Like, again, I get the cloud hovering over us of you're killing a baby, but it's between a woman and her doctor. It's between a person who can give birth and their doctor. I don't know how that pertains legislation, right? Like, I don't know anybody at 9 months having a schmishmortion. It's usually because of serious situations that involve so many factors and moving parts. It's okay to admit that, like, I can't afford a kid because that kid's gonna die of starvation or abuse or neglect or just any other thing in the society. Like, we need to step in, we need to know when to step out, and these are one of those situations where I can't see myself governing over a person who's giving birth. I don't know the full scope. I don't want to know every single situation in the United States. Let a doctor and a person handle that. Let them handle their own thing. So that's kind of the root of it all, is like, I don't care if life starts at this. I don't care of what you qualify as a baby, what doesn't. Because you can definitely find inconsistencies, right? When a woman is pregnant, it's not like she can write off that kid on her taxes when it's in the belly, right? Like, it ain't like that. No one considers the kid a kid until it's a kid, until it's born. But again, these are things that have no relevance. It's the larger, bigger picture of, this kid is born. Like, imagine people try to get a schmishmortion, and the government says, no, that person who was trying to get that, do you want them to be a mother? Because I hear these like, oh, this is grotesque, this is so horrid, can't believe these people would do that. They would get a schmishmortion, and you would allow that, and and then you start thinking, well, like, oh, would you that same person that you were talking so highly or so low of, so disgusted by, is going to have that kid. You want them to have that kid? That they're a monster in your eyes. They're a baby killer, and you want them to have a baby. It makes no sense. And the more you dig into it, the more you see. When you look at an economic level, right, these kids are burdens to society. In the eyes of many more economically driven people, they are a burden. They're not benefiting. They're usually, if someone wants to get a schmishmortion and they can't afford it, either through because the laws of their surroundings or the money it takes or the cost or the time or the education, they usually would have it, and they're going to be having these anchor babies of sorts. So it's I don't like any of these terms. I'm just trying to paint the people who are anti schmishmorship, but then bitch about the kids who are born into these systems, into the foster systems, right? Like, they don't care. Right? They would talk all day about a baby in the womb, but they don't care. And that's why I don't even combat with that. I say, I don't care about when a baby's born. I don't care what you qualify as a baby. I don't care. I want to look at the bigger picture. I want to look at this statistically. I want to look at this economically. I want to look at this on a body autonomy level. I don't care about looking at it if you're really killing a baby. And that's a conversation that you say that to people and they won't listen to you. They don't care because that's what they care about, or they think they care about. So yeah, you're never gonna get people to really jive on this until they're affected. I've noticed not funny, but I guess serendipitous, ironic. You have people so anti it, and then you hear that they've gotten one, or they supported one because it was someone that they couldn't foster or take care of. Also, half the time you talk to these people, it's like, well, you could just adopt, and you're like, well, have you ever adopted? And they're like, no. And it's like, okay, if you adopted kids, I say, you know what, you're right, we could put them up for adoption. You are a better person than I. But I think most people, and there's a reason why we have an overfilled of kids in adoption system, is because people don't. Sorry, it's the truth. They don't care. They don't want to adopt. They don't look at it like it's their own, and it's a lot of resources to do it. And so I'm not saying get rid of foster care, but we need to realize that people just don't work like that. People don't want to have kids, and I hope we can have an economic growth and we can take care of our people to the point where people feel comfortable and to adopt in droves, but it's not going to happen anytime soon, especially within these two party systems. So yeah, I think the argument's been purposefully derailed, and people's focus is on the wrong items. We shouldn't be fighting on what makes a baby. We should be fighting on a body autonomy and the economic bigger picture of what it takes to have a child. And then the morality of it all is definitely going to follow, because you start thinking about it again. You have this kid, and think about the people who have, those who are pro life. You think about those kids and the parents that you yelled at outside the clinics, right? And how disgusted you were. You wanted that person to have a kid. You got to make up your mind. You have to be more consistent. Is this somebody that you see as horrid as the devil? Do you think they could have kids? Do you think they should even? I mean, I will be the first to admit I've seen a family of economic lower class, and I've had disgusting thoughts about, maybe they shouldn't be having kids. And honestly, I've taken back myself and said, maybe they couldn't afford a shmishmorsh. Maybe they didn't have the luxury. And also, if we want to be real here, the same people who talk about, stopping abortions, they're really pushing for them because you have education as a top priority for, taking down the numbers of shmishmortion. Yet they don't propose that. We need to have some sort of guarantee of life, to have a comfortable life, higher minimum wage, a social safety net. Social security is often being gutted by the same party that says they're pro-life. Wars that are continued and brought upon us are typically by a party of pro-life, quote unquote. So the inconsistencies are there. The ideas of we want to care about babies but we don't care about them after is very common and prevalent amongst Trumps, the Bidens, all of them. More so the Republican and Conservative Party. But there's no combating that. There's no fighting with people on this topic. It's more so let's just get away from the topic itself and start talking about, okay, if you do have a anti-abortion, what about septic uteruses? What about people who are going to die if they have their kid? You want to leave a world with no mother in that kid? How about okay, fine, we don't have pro-choice laws, but then you have something to fall upon, right? Minimum wage, UBI. They will crumble so fast the minute you start talking about these points, because it's, to them, it's libertarian for me but not libertarian for thee. I don't want you to touch my guns, but you can touch a woman's body. And I think consistent libertarians would say don't touch any of that, and those are the people I respect, and I think you can sway onto your side. You can get pro-choice legislation, but other than that, we're going to be going an uphill battle with these inconsistent pro-life pieces of shits, because most of the time I don't think they give a fuck about you or me. So it is what it is, right? Well, new videos every other day, talk about politics and stuff. Yeah, love you all. Y'all be safe. Peace.
Active camo inbound. nearing victory. Straight balling.
Active camo available. Wow, I can't believe my eyes.
Down.
Oh, don't think so.
Victory.